Most people in life are looking for how do I make a productive income while I utilize my skill sets, my time, my talents, and any treasures that I need to invest in terms of my own personal resources or the professional ones I have budgeted for my department or my team. In life, we have moments of time to tell people what's going on for us. I've tried really hard to produce pastoral work, and a liaison for someone who is cyber hacking me continues to delete some of my best intellectual property. This is called cybercrime in the land, and some of the upcoming presidential candidates are starting to talk about how love is the most important concept we provide to people. There are unfortunately people of mature age who have not matured in God's house at all. I literally can tell a story of going on the Lord's choosing to several places, to literally being put head to head, face to face, and openly with signs in heaven about a person going to be present. I followed the Lord's controls, I followed His words, and my soul, as most of us get those inklings, those ideas in our minds. And I literally end up face to face with the one that I love. The problem is that when we do that, when we follow what we're being told to do in our head, our heart, mind, and soul, we don't always get where we're longing to go. A man's longing to win the heart, mind, and soul of the most incredible woman can often be met with immaturity and vanity that is off the charts in a little girl's mind. She might be in her 40s, she might literally be almost 50, but if she's got vanity problems, she will never see the house of God the way that she's supposed to. The problem is that we haven't talked a lot about the 7 deadly sins in a long time, and we openly know that vanity is one of them. The vain is the one that happened to me when I was at a lovely street party, and the Lord said, "Linger up, please, and look to your right." And doesn't the Lord continue and keep His promises? And lo and behold, there was the woman that I was meant to marry according to the house of God. The challenge was that later in the event, she was a few people away from me, and what I saw and observed was her running off like a little girl to tell her boys where a man was in the crowd. I sort of found that to be a little odd because as an audiocaster and podcaster, you'd think she'd have a presence of mind to see how ridiculous she looked in playing out a game with a man's life. You see, the same individual is literally a legal heir to my estate. And that's the crazy thing. She accepted to be the legal heir of my estate. She allowed my siblings to steal my mail and return some papers, or she did, or her police friends did, because openly things were mailed to her, same sort of came back into my possession without actually making it through my hands. But in life, when we have moments of time to talk to people about our life, to prepare our loved ones for the future, we have to make a living and a life worth living, as well as a retirement worth having. And as an audiocaster, we have to create stories that people can relate to, can understand. But what has happened recently is that she has utilized her police force friends to wake a man in the middle of the night, to provide for him a piece of legal documentation of which there's only one page. Not only is there no addresses for where this little person is supposed to live and her children, but the reality is there's no way for a man to protect himself from police force that are litigating him regularly, that abuse his homelessness and that openly destroyed his life with their lies. The reality is that I'm sure part of this audiocast will be deleted, much as some of my best pastoral work has been in the last month or so. I literally post things online, and the little girl who stole my pack, returning everything but my little book of passcodes and my business cards for the men who provide me leather cuffs, are not there. You see, the police can get anyone to do just about anything and can lie about it and say they're doing the right thing. They call it the blue line. If you haven't understood the blue line, look it up. You'll see cars about town, especially in church parking lots, that have a association type license plate and then a blue line or a flag that is black and white with a blue line in the middle on it. Now, if there are other people in this place that love them, that's great. But until you've lived a life, you can't know how it feels to be someone who's loved someone who literally gets God signs for that individual every single day for 7 years, only to find that the Lord in heaven is actually saying, this is the monster that has decided for whatever reason to destroy your life, to lie, to steal, to cheat you out of your life. And that particular individual is so immature that they involved your siblings. They talked regularly with your siblings, apparently, and then pretended as if they didn't, and then thought they'd play a game with police that ruined a man's legal situation, something that he literally was dealing with because that individual primarily probably got into his apartment with the help of social networks in that apartment complex and literally stole items from his home. You see, in life we have moments of time to tell the truth, and any truth that I tell you, anyone else can tell you is a lie. You have to decide in your mind's eye and in your soul whether what you're hearing is truth or whether what you're hearing is falsehood. The only way to do that is to properly decide whether or not you're a person of faith or a person of the lie. You see, the liars of the land create scenarios that allow them to lie, steal, and cheat people out of their life, property, or their soul's code. But on top of that, then they lie to police or other people to ruin a life so that they can get off scot-free with their properly obtained and procured and pilfered items. It's funny how some things continue to be returned to my storage unit, but openly it's like someone's just playing show and tell with my belongings and putting things back. The problem is that I have a good photographic mind. I know what my property looks like. I know how I packed it. I know how I always pack it. And when I find it totally askew and my altar items for the Lord totally, utterly destroyed or put on my personhood when I put them in my house, or necklaces that I wear at night somehow being shortened on a regular basis by my older sister, who is a liar of the land, I don't like it. So in life, a man moves on. He moves out of a lost relationship with someone who came from a foreign land, only to be ready to propose to a girl who, instead of meeting that proposal with maturity, love, kindness, and compassion, or even regard for human life, decides to make a lie. You see, now I have this thing that says that I can't contact someone, but there's no detail about that. There's no way to know where that individual lives or works. And openly then, here's the lie. She continues, on the very day that I get served this paper, to look at me on LinkedIn and other places. Isn't that a liar's game? You can't talk to me. You can't look at me. You can't involve yourself in my life. You can't request my hand in marriage, but I get to look at you and mock your life and pretend I'm not doing anything wrong. I had a sibling who did that to me once too. In life, we have moments of time to talk to people, to regard them, to show them love, and I'm grateful that we have 2 presidential candidates, possibly 3, who happen to be women who are really talking about how America needs to take back the concept of loving people regardless of race, creed, religion, or soul. And that's important today. This has been Blake Ensign of the Magic and Mayhem of the Lord's Code, speaking to you live, actually, from Books and Brews, which I've just discovered as a lovely place for anyone to come to play card games, to get a beer, or to have some great family food. I hope you're listening. They are not sponsoring this, so don't include them in that. But Magic and Mayhem is a podcast that honors the Lord God in heaven and all the spirit world that I can show you the magic of, just like the Force, in one of my favorite childhood movies of Star Wars. Thanks for listening.